Hi, everybody. It's Thursday, May 2nd. Welcome to the weekly webinar for Data Engineering Nano Degree for cohort 1029. So my name's Lindsay Moyer, and I'm just going to go through a couple of thoughts and tips and tricks on the project for Casandra. So first of all, I'd like to share my screen. And what we have here is a workflow for this project. Now, I haven't done this before, and this is actually from another mentor, but he took the time to do this workflow. I thought it was useful. This is a fairly simple project. You should probably get this done easily in less than a day. And compared to the last project that you did on Postgres, it's very simple. A lot of what you're being asked to do here is shown in demos and quizzes in this section on Casandra. So you're given one data set. It's eventdata.csv. You're required to build a database based on what you've learned. Take a closer look at your data and keep your queries in mind. The thing that's always important about denormalizing tables or looking at these technologies like Casandra or Spark, etc., is that they basically are set up to do one thing and one thing only, and there are no joins. So if you have your queries in mind, this gets to be very simple. So you process the data, create a denormalized data set, and you load the tables into the Apache Casandra database. Notice that you have a clean trimmed data. This is all set up for you here. However, you do need to ask and answer a few questions. So the question is which columns go into the new clean data set? It depends on your design methodology, but this really steps you through it. What's the most important constraint to keep in mind? It's obviously the clustering and the primary keys. And this requires you to look at the data and think through the process of putting the data into this database as well as querying it. And what's the best way to look at this new clean data? Now, this person suggested you use pandas, and I did use pandas when I did this project. However, there's only, I think, 6,000 or 8,000 rows in here. So easily pandas can do this, but remember you're supposed to be dealing with massive data sets, millions of rows, and probably not a good idea to use pandas unless you can get a subset of the data. So perfectly fine for this one as a demonstration, but not something that I would recommend against a really large data set. You certainly can get a subset as part of your pre-processing. So pretty easy to pop it into pandas. You just do read CSV, just the name of the CSV file, pretty simple. And there it is in all its glory. And what he did is he did a describe so you get counts, etc. Well, that's a really good thing to do with any data set, just get a vague idea what's going on. And then he did an info, and you can see the data types that are here. I mean, if they're string, they're objects. This one defaulted to integer 64. There's some floats. You notice there's no date types here. All right, let's see, data columns. Nope. Okay, so he suggested you look for duplicates. Not a bad idea. This is the way he did it. Not the way I would have done it, but it's certainly reasonable. And then you come up with a count of 800. So you got to be careful about using the song ID as a primary key. You're going to have to cluster it with another column, obviously. So that's the basic idea about this project. Pretty simple. Compared to the last one, you'll breathe a sigh of relief. This is a good breakdown of how you do the project. And I'm going to actually post this on the DEND 1029 so that you can look at it and maybe get some ideas from it. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. The next thing I wanted to show you is just this. This is not a lot of information, but it's instructive. So you can see there's a primary key being set here. This is probably one of the queries you're going to run. You don't have to do it this way, but it's likely that the people that are evaluating this will be looking for this kind of thought. So you can see something a little unusual here. Look, user ID and session ID are put together as the primary key, and then the clustering column is over here. So you might think, well, why didn't they just do user ID and session ID and, you know, not bother with item in session? Well, you know, they may not have. You know, the answer is if you just did user ID, and this is the log sessions, you're going to end up with somebody who's done a lot of looking at, you know, playing music. They're going to start dominating this table, and they're going to end up putting a lot of data, one partition in one place. So they basically spread it out by including the session ID is what they did. So that just shows a little bit of thought that this person who set this up is thinking about how the data is actually going to be distributed on disk. And then they clustered it again in item in session to make it, you know, to make it run better, to make it more unique. So anyways, that's about all I have on this today. You know, again, as usual, if you have any questions, comments, considerations, just DM me. We can get on the phone through Slack and I can chat you through it. And, you know, good luck on doing this. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you fairly quickly. Thanks a lot. Bye now.